We've all seen it before. Transition from a point to another point in a video. Transition from a scene to another scene in a movie. Even the act of sitting to standing is a transition. Transitions are a way of continuing a flow, be it in real life conversation or in any other movies or TV shows you watch. Even right now, I'm using a simple cut and a sentence to transition from my studio to my backyard, thus changing from scene to scene with a continuous flow. Without a transitional sentence, it would just be a hard cut, and it would feel a little disjointed, a little off. You don't believe me? Well, what about this? But here today, I want to discuss with you some of the most commonly used transitions. Quite frankly, yes, all those cheesy transitions. He said it. He said it. The title of the video. I didn't think he was going to say it, but he said it. Wow. I want to give a quick shout out to a fantastic Reddit post that I found while researching for this video. Someone suggested that one of the best transitions in all of cinema history is when the movie The Last Airbender transitioned into the credits. Internet's full of facts. Instructions to build your IKEA furniture. Who won the 1860 presidential election? Dalmatians were originally hunting dogs. The Last Airbender movie was trash. Sorry. It's one of the few things in life that just kind of gives me like a physical reaction. I was a big Last Airbender fan of, for the animated show. So it's not pain, it's something worse. Aside, let's start addressing some of the most commonly used cheesy transitions. The wipe. This one you'll see in pretty much every single PowerPoint that is begging you to still be awake, but famously, it's also been used in every single Star Wars movie. Wasn't the first to do it, but definitely a reason why it's so recognizable. Out of date? Yeah, but it's got this little charm to it that, I don't know, maybe it doesn't completely make up for how out of date and cheesy it is, but it's definitely there. You'll also see them in pretty much any of your low budget local TV commercials, and I hate seeing them in pretty much all of those low budget local TV commercials. I might just hate it in everything except for Star Wars. The fade. The fade is probably one of the least cheesiest on this list, and honestly, it's one that I use pretty regularly, but because we all do. Almost everybody uses this. You typically know it as fade to black or fade to white. It can really be to any solid color, but fade to black and fade to white are what's commonly used, and you'll catch it almost everywhere now if you haven't been able to catch it already. What's good about the fade is that it works both ways. It's not just going to black, it can also come from black, and that's why going from black fading into your scene is a great way to ease an audience into your movie, into your project, your show, your commercial, whatever. It's a slow way to get your audience in the mood. Sorry. Or it can be broken up into chapters, i.e. Pulp Fiction, constantly using it to go between segment to segment to segment across its different little mini stories. Or it could be that traditional fade to black, which is just a good way to bring something to a conclusion. It feels natural. It feels like you've gotten your closure from your story or your point. And as it fades to black, you hear the music and you know it's over. Not bad, right? Yeah. Bam! Hit by a car. A fade to white can be used for impact or entering some sort of dream state. You see the light, don't go towards the light. Getting hot in here. I'm thirsty. Is anyone else thirsty? The iris. The iris is an old transition that was actually used in place of a fade to black. It had kind of the same thing going on way back in the day, but the difference is that this one was actually able to both ease in or ease out of a scene while also drawing attention to something specific. The difference between the iris and the fade is that the iris got out of date a lot sooner. But since it can double duty as a fade and a zoom into something significant, it's a good way to tell your audience, hey, I switched out that camera for a cup for a reason and you're gonna notice it. Which I did because I'm thirsty, remember? It's come full circle. I've quenched my thirst and that plot point is resolved, and you notice the details I needed you to notice to tell that story. But speaking of transitions, yes, I'm adding the bad spin to a list of cheesy transitions because if you're gonna act like I'm not ever gonna have a chance to do this again with this level of context, this is it. It's the only time I'll ever get, so I'm taking my shot. the bat spin is iconic. It is so corny and so stupid. And honestly, it kind of goes back on that whole flow thing I mentioned earlier about what transitions are supposed to be. This is more of like a full plot point brick wall train stop. But it's a great way to go from somewhere to somewhere else in a very timely manner. Timely meaning instant. A good transition and a solid flow will stop you from actually being able to just like notice everything. You're just along for the ride until afterwards you can analyze it. But these cheesy ones that I've listed here are some that you'll notice right away. They stick out like a sore thumb. And so that's kind of part of the charm. That's kind of part of the fun in using these and in seeing these. They're bad. They're bad, but they're still kind of neat too, right? I know there's so many more out there, so leave some more down below that I missed here because there's plenty to go off of, and all of them have their own levels of cringe. We can all check them out together later in another video, so subscribe, like, again, leave those down below as suggestions for the next one, and I'll see you in the next video. Gadzooks, the battery's dying on the camera. Quick, to the end screen.